Saints, let me tell you something today, something more than encouragement, something divine, something urgent from the heart of God. God is working on your behalf. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when all you see are delays and detours, God is not idle. He is intentional. He is orchestrating something far greater than what you can see. Delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Sometimes God stretches the timeline so that your faith can grow and your character can catch up to your calling. He's never late, but he is strategic. He's not just delivering a blessing, he's building a person. You must understand that God often works in the dark. Just like a baby develops in the womb or a seed sprouts under the soil, God does his best work in hidden places. You may be in a season where you can't trace him, but trust me, you can still trust him. When God is silent, it doesn't mean he's absent. He's weaving things together, pulling strings you don't even know exist. And while you're sitting there wondering if he hears you, heaven is already moving in your direction. The dark season is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to grow you. There are people, circumstances, and situations rising up against you, but don't be discouraged. Your enemies are not in the way, they are part of the way. God has a track record of using opposition to promote his people. Every betrayal, every rejection, every act of sabotage is being repurposed by God for your breakthrough. The people who tried to bury you didn't know you were a seed. You're going to rise, and when you do, they'll know that God was with you all along. What the enemy meant for evil, God is flipping for your good. When God makes a promise, he doesn't forget. He is not like man who lies or changes his mind. He's a covenant, keeping God. If he said he would open doors, they will open. If he said healing is coming, it's on the way. Don't let the passage of time make you question the power of God. Just because it's been long doesn't mean it's been lost. The word over your life still stands. Heaven has not canceled your miracle. It's still en route. You don't have to beg, perform, or panic. Just believe. What looks like a setback is often a setup. Sometimes God has to let you lose a job, end a relationship, or walk through a hard place, not to hurt you, but to position you. God doesn't just want to bless you where you are. He wants to move you to where the blessing is, and often he'll use pain as transportation. So stop cursing the storm. The wind that's shaking your life is the same wind that's blowing you into purpose. The wilderness is not punishment, it's preparation. Trust the journey, even when it feels like a detour. You may not realize it, but heaven is talking about you. God has your name in his mouth. Angels are being sent, doors are opening, and chains are breaking, not because of anything you've done, but because of who you belong to. God sees the end from the beginning. While you're stuck in chapter 4, he's already written the victory in chapter 12. He's the author and the finisher of your faith. Don't lose your place in the story just because you don't like the current scene. Hold on, keep reading, the best part is still coming, so today, lift your head. Straighten your back, dry your tears, you're not alone, you're not forgotten. God is working on your behalf. He's already ahead of you, clearing the path, making the way, lining up divine appointments. Don't try to fight every battle. Some of them belong to the Lord. Let your faith do the heavy lifting. Speak his promises, walk in expectation, and live like the victory is already won, because it is. He is not finished with you, and what he started, he will complete. God is working for you, even right now. Sometimes the most powerful work of God happens where no one can see it. He doesn't always shout from the mountaintop. More often, he whispers in the valley. God works in the dark, in the hidden spaces, in the places that feel lonely, uncertain, and quiet. Just like a baby forms in the womb, just like a seed breaks open underground, God does his deepest work in the silence. You may not feel him, but he is there. You may not see a sign, but he is present. He's not pacing back and forth, trying to figure it out. He's already mapped out the miracle. He's just waiting for the right time to reveal it. In the darkness, God is building things you'll soon walk into. You may feel stuck, unsure, or surrounded by shadows, but it's in those very moments that God is setting things in motion. He's aligning people you haven't met yet, preparing doors you haven't knocked on, and creating answers to prayers you haven't even prayed. Just because you don't hear him doesn't mean he's not speaking. Sometimes God speaks in actions, not words. Sometimes his movement is the silence, and when the time is right, what was formed in the dark will be revealed in the light. You have to trust that God is not limited by what you can see. The human eye sees the surface, but God sees the root. The surface might look dry and lifeless, but beneath it all, something is growing. Something is stretching. Something is shifting. Faith was never meant to rely on sight. It was meant to stand even when sight fails. God works in places that don't make sense to the natural mind. He turns chaos into order. He takes confusion and births clarity. He transforms darkness into the very place where purpose begins to breathe. When Jesus was placed in the tomb, it looked like the end. It was dark, sealed, and final. But even in that darkness, God was working. Resurrection power was stirring. The greatest miracle in human history happened in complete silence. No applause, no spotlight, just God doing what he does best, turning death into life, endings into beginnings. So don't despise the dark. Don't rush out of it. The same God who allows it is the one who will use it. And when he brings you out, it won't just be about survival. It'll be about purpose. The dark seasons of your life are not wasted. They're where endurance is forged. They're where your spiritual muscles grow. It's where your roots go deep. Without the dark, you'd never appreciate the light. Without the silence, you'd never recognize his voice. Sometimes God allows us to walk through darkness so that when the breakthrough comes, we'll know exactly who to thank. The silence was not rejection, it was preparation. He was not ignoring you, he was growing you. You may feel forgotten, but you're not. You're hidden. There's a difference. Being hidden is not punishment, it's protection. God hides what he's developing, he conceals what he's refining. He doesn't rush the process because rushed things break easily, but what God shapes in the secret place comes out strong, unshakable, and ready. Don't resent the hidden season, embrace it, because when God brings you out, he'll do it in such a way that no one can deny his hand was on your life the entire time. So stand still, be patient, let your faith anchor you. God is working in the dark on your behalf. While you're resting, he's restoring. While you're waiting, he's weaving. While you're praying, he's positioning. Don't let the absence of evidence fool you into thinking nothing is happening. Heaven is busy with your name on its agenda. And when the time comes, what was once hidden will be revealed, and all will know. It was God who was working all along. There are moments in life when it feels like everything and everyone is working against you. People you trusted turn their backs on you. Opportunities you counted on slip away. Doors that once opened easily now remain firmly shut. It can make you wonder if you're cursed, if you're doing something wrong, or if God has forgotten you. But the truth is, opposition does not mean abandonment. The presence of enemies in your life is often the greatest confirmation that you are on the path to purpose. God doesn't remove every adversary because sometimes he uses them. What was meant to destroy you, he uses to develop you. We often want God to eliminate the people who hurt us, to block the ones who speak against us, to silence the critics and protect us from betrayal. But look at the pattern throughout Scripture. God allows enemies to exist so that His glory can be revealed through them. David never would have stepped into kingship without Goliath. Joseph would not have made it to the palace without the pit his brothers threw him into. Jesus fulfilled the greatest act of love and redemption through the betrayal of someone He called friend. The enemy is not in the way, he's part of the way. God doesn't just use the pain caused by others, He transforms it. Every rejection is redirection. Every lie told about you is a setup for truth to be revealed. Every attempt to bury you only proves how powerful the seed in you truly is, and seeds grow best when they're buried. You may feel like you've been pushed down, dismissed, or overlooked, but all of it is fertile ground for God to show Himself strong in your life. You are not forgotten. You are being planted, and when the time is right, you will rise, and those same enemies will be witnesses to what God has done. We get so caught up in the discomfort that we miss the development. Trials push you to pray harder. Enemies push you to lean deeper into God's strength. Attacks reveal what's really in your spirit and show you where you've been depending on your own strength instead of God's. So don't waste your energy trying to get even or prove people wrong. Let God use what they meant for evil and turn it into something glorious. That's His specialty. He's a master at taking broken pieces and making masterpieces. You may not understand why some people turned on you or why you had to experience certain wounds, but trust that none of it was random. God is too precise to allow meaningless pain. If He allowed it, He plans to use it. There are people who left your life and it hurt, but it had to happen. There are situations that broke your heart, but they also broke chains. Don't let bitterness blind you to the beauty God is building out of the ashes. Your enemies are not the end of the story. They're part of how the victory unfolds. What you've endured didn't disqualify you. It prepared you. Every time you chose to forgive instead of hate, every time you praised when it would have been easier to quit, you were stepping into your next level. The attacks weren't just challenges, they were confirmation. The enemy only attacks what he fears. If you weren't carrying something powerful, you wouldn't be facing the pressure you're under. The presence of resistance is proof of the weight your destiny carries. You're not being crushed. You're being crowned, so hold your peace. Trust the process. Don't try to remove the enemies. Watch how God uses them. They may dig the ditch, but they won't bury you. They may try to stop you, but they won't block you. God has a way of making your enemies your footstool, and when He raises you up, He'll do it in such a way that even those who opposed you will have to admit, only God could have done this. What they meant for harm, God meant for good. And He is working all things together, even your enemies, for your purpose. God is not just a promise maker. He is a promise keeper. When He speaks a word over your life, it does not return empty. It may take time. It may stretch across seasons, but it will come to pass. People will promise and forget. Circumstances will shift. Emotions will waver, but the promises of God remain steady and unshaken. He doesn't promise based on trends or timing. He promises based on His nature, and He cannot lie. If He said He would do it, He will. If He said He would bring you out, restore what was lost, open the door, heal the wound, He will. Sometimes the space between promise and fulfillment feels like a wilderness. You know what God said, but nothing around you looks like it. That gap can cause frustration, doubt, and even fear, but the gap is also where faith grows. It's where you learn to walk without seeing, to trust without touching, to believe without having proof. Abraham waited decades for his promised child. David was anointed as king but returned to the pasture before ever wearing a crown. The waiting room of promise is never easy, but it is always necessary. It's easy to trust God at the beginning when the word is fresh and hope is high, and it's easy to celebrate at the end when the breakthrough arrives. But what about the middle, that long, quiet, confusing middle where nothing is moving and everything feels stuck? That's where many give up. But those who hold on, who remember what he said more than what they see, will witness the fulfillment in ways they never imagined. The middle is not the end. It's simply where God shapes the strength needed for what he promised. God does not forget what he has spoken over you. He doesn't lose track of your prayers. His word is eternal, unshaken by time, untouched by delay. You may think the promise has expired, but God doesn't operate by human timelines. What seems late to you is perfectly timed by him. There are things he's preparing for you that your heart isn't yet ready to handle. There are doors you've knocked on that haven't opened because what's behind them is still being built. The silence is not rejection, it's divine strategy. We must stop looking for instant results and learn to trust the long path of promise. God is building something lasting, something rooted. He doesn't do rushed miracles. He does complete ones. When God fulfills a promise, he doesn't just meet a need, he exceeds it. He doesn't just restore, he multiplies. You may be praying for one thing, but God is working out 10 other things connected to it. What he has planned is always bigger than what you expected. He's preparing a harvest you didn't even plant all by yourself. If you find yourself growing weary, speak the promise out loud again, write it down. Remind yourself not of what you feel, but of what he said. His word is your anchor in the storm. His voice is your compass in the confusion. When the enemy tries to make you doubt, remind him of the God who never changes. When fear tells you it's too late, tell it that your God does not sleep or slumber. When time tries to taunt you, remember that the author of time is still writing your story. So stand on his word like it's already done. Praise like the door is already open. Live like the healing is already complete. Because when God speaks, it is settled in heaven, and no demon in hell, no delay on earth, no doubt in your mind can cancel what he has ordained. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't speak just to tease you. He is not just the promise maker. He is the promise keeper, and everything he said will come to pass. Right on time. There are times in life when everything feels like it's falling apart. Plans unravel, relationships end, finances collapse, and dreams feel like they are slipping through your fingers. You try to hold it together, but no matter how much effort you put in, things just keep breaking. In those moments, it's easy to believe that life is working against you. But what if I told you that what looks like a setback is actually a setup? What if I told you that the breaking is not the end, but the beginning of something greater? God does not waste your pain. He does not allow loss without purpose. Every disappointment has a direction. We often cry out to God asking why he allowed certain things to happen. We ask why doors closed, why people left, why success was delayed. But if we could see what he sees, we would understand that some things had to fall apart so the right things could come together. There are doors you wanted to walk through that would have led you off course. There are people you thought you needed who would have become a weight on your destiny. God allows a divine interruption not to punish you, but to protect you. The setback is not his silence. It's his signal that he's redirecting your steps. There are lessons you can only learn through loss. There are depths of strength and resilience in you that only rise when you're in the fire. Setbacks strip away what's shallow so you can go deeper. When everything is going well, it's easy to become comfortable. But purpose doesn't grow in comfort. Sometimes God has to disrupt your comfort to activate your calling. The things you've been through, the pain you've endured, the seasons of struggle, They are not wasted. They're the foundation of the testimony He's building through you. Think about every person in Scripture who did something great for God. Almost all of them experienced a major setback before their breakthrough. Joseph was thrown into a pit and imprisoned before he ever stepped into the palace. Moses fled into the desert before he became the deliverer. Ruth lost everything before she walked into a divine connection. Jesus himself was crucified before the resurrection. Setbacks are part of the divine pattern. They are not proof that God has abandoned you. They are preparation for something you can't yet see. When you are in the middle of a setback, it's hard to see the bigger picture. It feels like everything you built is crumbling. But trust that God is doing some of His best work behind the scenes. He's working on your behalf in places you can't reach. While you're grieving what was lost, He's preparing what's next. What feels like the end may just be the middle. What looks like a breakdown may actually be a breakthrough in disguise. His ways are higher than ours, and His thoughts are beyond our understanding. Trust that He sees the full picture when all you can see are the pieces. Instead of asking God to take you out of the situation, start asking Him what He wants you to learn in it. There is wisdom in the wilderness. There is power in the process. Sometimes you won't get the answer right away, but if you lean into the moment and surrender the outcome, you will come out stronger than you went in. You will gain clarity, maturity, and spiritual authority that cannot be taken from you. The setback is not where your story ends. It's where your real strength begins to rise. So don't let the pain of the moment make you lose sight of the promise. You may have been pushed back, but you're about to launch forward. You may have lost some things, but you're about to gain something greater. What the enemy meant for harm, God is turning into your testimony. He's setting you up for favor, for growth, for divine alignment. You didn't fall off course. You're being positioned. The setback is just the soil where God is planting the seeds of your next season. And when the time is right, you will see that the delay wasn't denial. It was destiny in disguise. Heaven is talking about you. While you're worrying about what's not working, while you're wondering if your prayers are getting through, something is happening in the unseen realm. God is speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. Angels are being assigned. Strategies are unfolding. The divine plan for your life is not on pause just because you can't see the progress. What feels like silence is actually sacred preparation. You may not hear the sound of movement, but heaven is having conversations about your future. You are not forgotten. You are being discussed at the highest level. Many times we look around and assume that because people have forgotten us, God has too. But God's remembrance doesn't look like man's attention. He doesn't operate based on likes, applause, or public affirmation. His work is hidden, holy, and deliberate. When God begins to talk about you, things shift. Doors open without explanation. Favor locates you in unfamiliar places. Provision comes through unexpected sources, and none of it happens by chance. It's the result of divine orchestration, the kind that starts in heaven long before it shows up on earth. God never sleeps, and He never stops working on behalf of His children. While you rest, He's still arranging. While you cry, He's still calculating. While you wait, He's still weaving every detail together. Your name is not just on a prayer list, it's in His plan. Your situation is not just a struggle, it's a setup. The whispers of heaven carry more power than the noise of earth. Just because it hasn't shown up in your hands doesn't mean it's not already in motion. God is moving in ways you can't see, touching hearts, influencing minds, and making paths straight for you. Sometimes God talks about you in ways that prepare others to bless you. He places your name in the minds of people who can help you. He gives someone a dream, a thought, an impression, and suddenly favor shows up at your doorstep. What you couldn't make happen on your own, heaven begins to authorize, and when it's God who promotes you, no one can demote you. When God makes the introduction, you don't need to campaign or compete. You just need to be in position, because divine appointments don't need human permission. The enemy would love for you to believe that nothing is happening. He wants you to think your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling, that your tears are unnoticed and your efforts are in vain. But the truth is, God keeps every tear, hears every cry, and honors every act of faith. Heaven records your perseverance. Your name is written in a place where it cannot be erased. The spiritual realm is not ignoring you, it's preparing for you, and at the right time, what's been hidden will be revealed. What's been delayed will be delivered, so don't stop believing just because it's quiet. Don't let the silence fool you into thinking God is absent. He is fully involved, fully aware, and fully committed to what He started in you. Keep walking by faith, keep speaking His word, and keep your heart open to His timing. You may not know when or how, but know this: heaven is not silent about you. God is speaking, angels are moving, and favor is finding its way to you. Your name is being spoken in places you can't even imagine yet. There is a time and season for everything under heaven. Your name, your assignment, your breakthrough. It all has an appointed moment, and when that moment comes, it will not be delayed. So lift your head and live like you're remembered, not because of what you feel, but because of what is true. Heaven is talking about you, and what's coming next will prove it. Get ready for the kind of move only God could have arranged. The silence was never absence, it was alignment, and now heaven is preparing to make it known. God is not bound by time like we are. While we live moment by moment, trying to make sense of today and hoping for a better tomorrow, God stands at the beginning and already sees the end. He sees the full picture while we only catch glimpses. What confuses us never confuses Him. What surprises us never catches Him off guard. He is the author and the finisher. That means He starts with the end in mind. When He began writing the story of your life, He already saw how it would unfold. He already accounted for the detours, the delays, and even the mistakes. And still, He said, "This is good." There is nothing you're facing that God didn't already know about. He doesn't panic when you feel lost. He doesn't retreat when your faith gets weak. He knew every storm you would encounter, every tear you would cry, and every prayer you would whisper before you ever faced it. That's why you can trust Him even when you don't understand Him. If He allowed it, He plans to use it, and if He spoke a word over your life, He intends to fulfill it. He finishes what He starts. He doesn't abandon the process halfway through. He is fully committed to your journey. When we face trials, it's easy to believe that something has gone wrong. We think if we're suffering, then we must be off course. But sometimes the path to your destiny includes seasons that don't look anything like the promise. Jesus had to go through Gethsemane before reaching the resurrection. Joseph had to endure the prison before stepping into the palace. You may not understand the chapter you're in, but God does. He wrote it. And He wrote it with victory in mind. He's not improvising. He's executing a perfect plan with precise timing. The beauty of God's vision is that it includes redemption. He doesn't just see your failures. He sees how He's going to redeem them. He doesn't just see the pain. He sees how He's going to heal you through it. There is no part of your story that's wasted when it's placed in His hands. Even your darkest chapters become testimonies of His grace. Even your biggest regrets become places where His mercy shines brightest. That's how complete His vision is. He doesn't throw anything away. He uses it all. Sometimes we feel anxious because we can't see the outcome. We want to know how things will end. We want certainty, but that's where faith comes in. Faith is not trusting God with what you can see. Faith is trusting Him with what you can't. It's believing that even when the road looks rough, the destination is still good. It's knowing that God's plan may not always feel good in the moment, but it will always work for your good in the end. He sees further than you. He knows more than you, and he loves you deeper than you can imagine. When things don't make sense, remind yourself who wrote the script. Remind yourself that the ending is already settled. God is not guessing. He is guiding. He is weaving every detail together, even the ones that hurt, even the ones you don't understand. What feels like a detour is part of the design. What seems like a loss is part of the lesson, and every step you take, even in confusion, is still under his control. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random. He sees it all, and he's still saying, "I've got you." So rest in the knowledge that your life is in the hands of the one who sees the end from the beginning. You don't have to have it all figured out because he already does. Your job is not to control the story. Your job is to trust the author. And when you look back, you'll see that every twist, every turn, every delay, and every breakthrough were perfectly timed. He's not just the God of your beginning. He is the God who has already seen your victorious end, and he is guiding you there every step of the way. You've been carrying a weight that was never meant to be yours. You've been fighting battles that don't belong to you. You've been staying up at night trying to figure out how to win a war that only God can handle. It's exhausting trying to control everything, trying to fix everything, trying to protect yourself from things only heaven can see. But today, God is reminding you of something simple and powerful. The battle is not yours, it's his. You don't have to have all the answers, because he's already worked out the outcome. You don't have to fight alone, because he's never left your side. There's something freeing about knowing the outcome doesn't depend on your strength. God never asked you to be the strongest in the room. He never told you to be the smartest or the fastest. He asked you to trust him. That's it. Trust him when the odds are stacked against you. Trust him when the people you thought would help you turn away. Trust him when the enemy seems bigger, louder, and more equipped. The reason the enemy wants you to believe the battle is yours is because he knows you'll grow weary. But if you ever start fighting from a place of trust, if you ever hand the weight over to God, you'll begin to experience a different kind of victory. Remember when David stood before Goliath? Everyone thought he was crazy. A young shepherd boy facing a seasoned warrior with nothing but a sling and a few stones. But David wasn't relying on his skill. He was relying on his God. He didn't say, "I'm coming at you with my strength." He said, "I come to you in the name of the Lord." That's how you fight battles that aren't yours. You show up in faith. You stand in confidence. You swing what God gave you and let him take care of the rest. Because when the battle belongs to the Lord, victory is never out of reach. There are some things you've been trying to force into place, and it's worn you out. You've been trying to defend yourself, prove your worth, fix situations that are beyond your control. But God is saying, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is not weakness, it's surrender. And surrender is the gateway to strength. When you let go, you make space for God to step in. When you stop trying to do it all, you allow him to show you what he can do. And what he can do in one moment outweighs what you could do in a lifetime. Sometimes we think surrender means defeat, but in the kingdom of God, surrender is how you win. It's how you tap into power that's not your own. It's how you stop reacting and start responding with peace. When you know the battle is the Lord's, you don't panic when things go wrong. You don't crumble under pressure. You stand firm, knowing that if God allowed the fight, he's already planned the victory. Your job is not to fight harder, it's to trust deeper. Your posture is not to swing wildly, it's to stand grounded in faith. There will be people who doubt you. There will be voices that tell you to give up. There will be moments when it looks like you're losing, but don't let appearances fool you. God often does his best work in the middle of what looks like defeat. He shows up in the fiery furnace. He speaks in the storm. He walks you through the valley, and when the dust settles, everyone will see that it wasn't your might, your strategy, or your connections that got you through. It was your God. The battle belonged to him, and he showed up right on time. So take a deep breath, lift your head. The pressure is not on you to win, it's on you to believe. It's on you to stand. It's on you to trust. God is fighting for you, and he has never lost a battle, not once. Not ever. What he did for David, what he did for Moses, what he did for Esther, he will do for you, because he's not just the God of the Bible. He's the God of right now. The battle is the Lord's, and the victory has already been written. Now walk like it's already won.